Jackie and I am here with Ken Casey of the legendary Dropkick Murphys. How are we doing this morning?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Oh, I am so glad to talk to you. When I was scrolling mindlessly through my Instagram and I saw that you were in my area last weekend, I was like, oh my gosh, we have to talk. Dropkick Murphys last June, the band performed at the National Mall for the Unite for Veterans, Unite for America event on D-Day. And last weekend, you performed at the Remove the Regime rally. Why was it important for you to not only attend this event, but really lend your support?
I think that Dropkick Murphys has been around for well, next year will be 30 years. And since our very beginning, we've been pretty vocal and pretty active about standing up for, the people, workers' rights, just, regular people trying to struggle and to get by. And right now, the country is run by a grifter billionaire who has manipulated, lied to, and divided working people. And we just feel like it's our patriotic duty to speak out. I feel like patriotism has been co-opted by this twisted regime, and not enough people, especially in music and whatnot, are speaking out. So we figure, like, well, we'll carry their weight too, and just try to, do as much as we. And it's what, like, some people say, like, why are you speaking out? It's like, but that's who we are, that's what we do, that's what we've been for 30 years. So, to not meet the moment now would be like complete cowardice.
That's really interesting what you said about, the idea of patriotism, really being co-opted. And I very much agree with that. It's the sense of like, if you're a patriotic person, if you love this country, this is what you're supposed to do. But I agree that the country's been founded on kind of going, uh, speaking out when things are unjust. I really appreciate that you have always and continue to lend your support and your voice and your platform. I think that's really important. What were some of the goals of Saturday's events?
I mean, to take down an authoritarian regime, some people who are anti what we were doing. So, well, did you succeed? Did you remove the regime? No, of course. It's not January 6th, folks. We're not violently storming the Capitol. To me, it's kind of got to be a death by a thousand cuts for these people. It's got to be constant pressure. Some of the main goals were of that weekend were, to put pressure even on Democratic lawmakers to stand up to the moment themselves. And and I at the time I really appreciated, like, the Michelle Obama sentiment of when they go low we go high, and take the high road and be better people, and that's all well and good. But to quote a Woody Guthrie lyric that we re-recorded, a song called 10 Times More, it's like, the sentiment is like, you know uh you got to, if you're fighting a loud, corrupt, evil group that will lie, double down, scream at the top of their lungs, a la Stephen Miller and whatever that spokeswoman, Caroline Levitt. You can't be quiet. You got to talk over them. You got to be loud. You got to bang the drum, and it's not going to change overnight, of course. But if each person comes to a rally and brings five of their friends the next time, or if Dropkick Murphys playing helps another band say, I'm going to speak out too, then that's what gets the ball rolling. To help reverse the mindset of the American public little by little.
I think also the visual of thousands of people coming together is really helpful when it feels like the these sensible minds are in the minority. I think it's really helpful to see, oh no, there are thousands of people that think just like you or similarly that are also there, and I think that does something for us to sort of
Listen,
re-engage us.
we were never in the minority, never, ever, ever, and even more so now, pointed out by Elon Musk turning on the location on all these these are people from, these are foreign actors, whether they're doing it maliciously to take down America or whether they're doing it maybe just to as a way to make income. Someone maybe in some struggling country, and a way to make money is to create some hateful account that gets lots of clicks. The irony of some woman in Bangladesh might be running some, macho America First account that's causing a bunch of hate in America. So, like, we were never in the minority in reality. You know what I mean? That the true MAGA cultists is less than a quarter of the country. I think the people who voted for Trump because the economy and all that stuff obviously have been already being proved that they made a mistake. The people who may have wanted immigration reform and voted for Trump for that, any of them that have a soul are already saying, this is not what I wanted. So, I think anything short of manipulating an election is gonna, not keep these people in power.
And there are some special elections that are still going on that it seems as though, again, the wiser uh, minds are finally prevailing again. There's an election, a special election in Tennessee next week. Democrats have won some elections very recently, and it seems like things, the tides might be changing a little bit. And I think that does all start from, some grassroots, some mobilization.
Yeah, we have so much work to do, even beyond, obviously, until we win elections and get some sanity back, in the majority in Congress and Senate, especially since the Republicans have cowered to a dictator and forgot that they're an equal branch of government. But, we get to travel around the world doing what we do, and America is really not just a laughing stock, but not to be trusted. Even if we do vote this regime out, the rest of the world is looking at America saying, well, in any 4-year period, could it switch back to this? So America needs to learn some hard lessons from all of this. And I think that hopefully we will. And maybe that is the bright spot, and even to look at, like, you know, just the underlying racism and stuff that, we probably never really, flushed out to the point where we needed to. And I feel like MAGA is the last breath of a dying, entity, if you ask me. And someone that's fighting for its life fights in that kind of way. And I think that's why they're so loud. They double down because they know that their type is about to be extinguished.
I mean, in the past 4 weeks alone, I think we have just seen so many events that have caused, thankfully or not, like the break apart of MAGA, and things finally do feel like there is some change. But do you ever feel that it's almost like shouting at a black hole for a little while until you do see a shift?
I think whether it's these rallies, you know, people put expectations on how many people are going to be there or what's the outcome going to be. It's like you can't get caught up in the outcome. You have to just stand on the right side of history, be vocal, and not get discouraged, because MAGA would love, people to say, I'm just screaming into the abyss. No one's listening. So I'll just forget about it. And that's sometimes why there's so much chaos and controversy. It's to wear the people down. And we're better than that. America's better than that. Like, I always think about, like, my grandparents and all these generations before that, like, went to war and stuff for this. And now we're letting, white nationalists march through our streets. It's like, come on, man. Like, what would my grandparents think, if I, didn't speak up in this moment? So, and having said that, there's nothing I'd love better than to not be talking about Donald Trump or any of this crap. We'd all rather be living our lives. I think sometimes, People say there's no joy in this. There's no joy. We all have far better things to do. But like in any conflict, you have to face the moment, and if you put your head in the sand, I love that, and I can't quote it, but there's that poem or whatever from World War II. First, they came for the trade unionists, and that wasn't me, so I didn't say anything. And then they came, for the Jews. Then they came for the homosexuals. Then they came. It just goes down the list, and eventually they're coming for you, no matter who you are. Maybe you're just not an elite billionaire, and that's going to be enough that they'll want to strangle out your rights. And aside from the racism, the authoritarianism, we're at a huge turning point in the world with AI, where workers' rights, even in good times, would need to be defended because of the fact that humans are becoming less and less needed in large areas of the workforce. And I would say we need to be out defending workers' rights adamantly, even in a good administration. So here we are in a bad one, especially bad for workers' rights. So we can never forget that in some ways, even after this is over, just fighting against the rich being able to use technology to make our value and our worth as humans less and less important. So the work will continue even in better times.
And punk music has always been a linchpin in kind of speaking up for those who maybe don't always have a voice. Is there something about the current political climate that continues to inspire you for new music?
Yeah, I think some of the greatest records of all time have been written, in a tough political climate, of course. But we draw our inspiration from all kinds of stuff over 30 years of doing this. Uh, Friends, family, history of our families. The worker struggle, politics. Just good times, in inspiration of other music we love, our children. There's so much to sing about, but I think you can go through almost any Dropkick Murphys record, and there are certain themes, and one of them is usually solidarity, and the people sticking together, whether it's in a union or whether it's to rise up against government overreach. Yeah, that makes for good punk music. I definitely don't understand that theory of, why don't you just shut up and sing? Like, no, wait, what? We're a punk band. We're we're a pro labor punk band. What are you talking about? Shut up and sing. This is what we do. This is who we are. But there's a lot of people that seem definitely confused and upset that we're taking a stand, and I find it almost comical at this point that there's people still out there that chose to not understand who we really are.
Yeah, I do think it's funny for anyone to come to go to a punk band and be like, just sing, because that is just so much ingrained, especially in your band, but in punk in general, is usually about a call to arms, a call to attention, and things like that. So I couldn't imagine just singing about fictional stuff all the
Yeah,
time.
well, I mean, so that's a reminder. I like to take an opportunity to remind all the bands with the platform. Come on, man! Like Rise Against just put out something that was very impactful. They're a huge band. To see them taking a stand is like, and there's a lot of these bands that like on their personal social medias and stuff, they're saying stuff, but they're not saying it as a band because maybe they don't want to affect their business or whatever. But I would just say, like, we're all counting on you. Like, so come on, like, jump in. There's nothing to be scared of.
Yeah, I love that. Let's rally some more folks. Tell me a little bit about your on the lighter side. You have a St. Patrick's Day contest coming up through Charity Buzz. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, the band, we have a charity foundation called the Clatter Fund. The Clatter, representative of the Clatter Ring, which represents friendship, love, and loyalty, which we thought were three great attributes to base a charity around. We support children's causes, veterans causes, and alcohol substance abuse treatment. Those are kind of our three main areas of focus. And these charitable auctions have been great ways to raise money for us. And last year we did great, and this year we hope to do great again with a raffle to come to Boston and hang out backstage with us. Airfare, hotel, tickets to the show, a seat beside my mother. I don't, I got to run that by my mother, but I think she'll be all right with it. But just the full Boston Dropkick Murphys experience, and it's been great so far. We've done a bunch of these for different things, and we've always had the greatest people win. We've never had like some nightmare punisher yet. If their money's green too. If you want to donate we'll put up with you for a few days. But we've just had such amazing, good people that have just been trying to, help a good cause. And we'd like to keep the ball rolling. And anyone who wants to, purchase a raffle ticket, we'd be grateful for your support. And I'm sure you have the information there because I can't think of the website offhand. But
Oh, I will
yeah.
include all of the links in this video because I think it's such a not just smart, but a very realistic and practical way for a band to be involved and help an important cause, right?
Yeah.
It's while it is important to use your voice, you've got a really good, 30 years of longevity is outstanding. So having a fan say, not only do I really want to see Dropkick in Boston on St. Pat's, if I can do something to help someone in the process as well, then that's just everybody wins. So I will be sure to include that.
Yeah, that weekend's great for us. We also do in the daytime on the Saturday of that weekend. We play all weekend, but on the daytime we do a kids concert at low volume that all the proceeds go to the charity. And it's wild to look out off the stage. We do a smaller, we like let 500 people in, but to see little kids and sometimes a little mini mosh pit. It's pretty awesome to, one, raise more money for charity, but two, kind of help, bring the next generation of rock and roll into, because getting to go see a live show is something that I think ingrains you into, your musical taste more so than maybe just what record your parents played in the house or whatever. I feel like going to see a band live is a wicked memorable thing for kids.
Absolutely. We're going into finally a holiday break. What's up next for you guys and heading into 2026?
Yeah, 2026 will be our 30-year anniversary. We have a big US tour coming up, and then we'll be in Europe all summer, and we also have some cool trips to places we've never gone, like Malaysia and things like that. We're working on a Japan tour, which we haven't done in probably 15, 20 years. So we're trying to really celebrate the 30 years because for whatever reason, like 25 years, it felt good, but 30 years has been making me want to like look back on the whole thing and really, I guess, smell the roses and, appreciate the fact that the music world has allowed us this opportunity to do this for a living. I never left the Boston area. I went to Florida once when I was 7, and other than that, I never really saw the world. So to like be able to have seen the world and met all these people, and it really changed who I am as a person in a lot of ways for the better too. And so always want to maintain a level of an immense level of gratitude for what music in general and particularly Dropkick Murphys has given me in my life.
Well, I think the fact that Dropkick is still going strong for 30 years is just one of the many attributes of just the things that you do and the people that you are. So stay tuned for a lot more from Dropkick Murphys. This is Jackie. Thanks to In the Key of Change and Chorus FM. Thank you so much, Ken.
Thanks.